Hey guys, it's Paul and Ray with the No Color Thick Skin podcast. Back at it with another brand new episode 27. We are super excited to get into it today. We got a lot of things to talk about in a short amount of time. Ray, how was your week?
Paul, let me tell you. I guess the word I'll continue to piggyback on is grateful. It's been a really good week, but I want to throw another word, I guess, redemption as well.
Yeah.
This past years, it's been a lot, and I've shared a lot with you about things that have happened, and
You shared a lot with them too.
Yes, it was just working and things of that nature like that, and this past week, the people of my profession, they gave me some good words. They gave me some hand claps and showed some appreciation to me for the long hours and the time and dedication that I put into the profession that I love. So number one, I was appointed and installed as a member for the North Texas Funeral Directors Association board. So I'm a board member for the Texas Funeral Directors Association's North Chapter. We live in North Texas. That was a great honor. I mean, it was just amazing. I'm thankful and grateful to have that. But also, being installed as an officer, I also received the 2024 Young Professional Award in North Texas as well. So,
yes, sir.
Man, it made me feel great. It was out at AT&T Stadium, so we were out at Jerry World. So being a Cowboys fan and getting that award there, and having all my peers there, having my friends there, I was able to pull my boss from out of the dungeon to come and dress up and be out
That's
there,
awesome.
and it was just a great time. So my week, man, it's just been great, man. So I'm still on cloud nine, and
I was gonna say you look like you're still floating.
I'm floating, man. I'm floating. So like I said, I'm forever grateful. We don't do it for the accolades. I've never been that person to brag or boast or anything like that, but just to have my peers respect me and award me with that recognition, man, it was a great feeling. So
Let me just say, guys, this guy is very humble about his what he does and how he does it, and people really appreciate the time that he doesn't talk about himself very much, really, and so for him to get this award was a really big deal. So, awesome.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
So,
thank you for always showing support, for always being there, man, having my back. You talked me off the ledge 367 days ago. So I thank you for always just, guiding me right and giving me those good words, and I appreciate you, my friend. So thank you, man. Thank you.
hey, time moves on, doesn't wait
Right.
for anybody, and you have definitely put in the work. So that's pretty amazing.
Enough about me.
You also made a magazine. I mean, come on,
we
dude.
did that. Oh, we've already discussed that.
So
My friend, Paulie Paul, how are you, my friend?
I'm good.
How have things been in your world and out there at work and things like that?
it's good. Work is shaping up. We were down business wise for a while, and now we're starting to pick back up, starting to figure out when busy season will be.
Mm-hmm.
We've been getting a lot busier in the mornings for breakfast, which is great. So work stuff, great. Yeah. And also personally, I bought a truck.
Right.
And I think I told you guys this last episode, but
For country.
yeah, I bought a diesel, and I don't have a lot of money like that, but it was a decision to do different projects and stuff like that also going on for me, and so I found out a week or two ago that I had a short in one of my injectors, and I don't know if you guys have looked into replacing an injector on a car here recently, but it's not cheap.
What, $38 or what?
38
no, $38
times
40,
like
44.
five. No, more than that. No, it's about $1,000 for
what?
It's about $1,000
for how many injectors?
for one injector to be replaced.
All right.
Just the injector kit, like the injector with the little doodad that comes out. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe how expensive this is. Yeah.
Ooh.
And so if I could do it myself, I would. But my mechanic friend has convinced me that I can't. So, and it's very expensive if you mess it up. So, if you cross thread it or something like that.
We don't want that.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Doubling, tripling your costs. But
but
where there's a will, there's a way. I mean,
yeah, I'll do brakes. I'll do oil changes. But when it has to do with the engine block or maybe the turbos or something like that, I'm like, I don't want to mess it up.
How much torque do you got? Yeah,
dude,
we don't want to deal with all that.
800
stuff,
pounds.
Man. Yeah, that's a whole lot of stuff. Man.
So, truck problems. But my truck has a lot of miles on it. It's totally normal for this to happen. It's not like a crappy truck. Did a crappy brake thing again. Anyways, so that's been on the top of my mind here recently, and just kids keep getting busier and busier with moving from season to season with the different
right
things that they do, sports,
some birthdays,
hobbies,
some birthdays and celebrations and stuff, and all those things, man. That
seems like they're having more birthdays closer together.
Honestly, that's what I was going to bring that to your attention. I was like, what's happening here? Like, I thought that,
oh my gosh,
are we doing this again right now? Yeah. So I guess, like you say, time just continues to move and move.
Time keeps on ticking into the future. Anyways, so we've got some really good topics today, and we'd really like to have way more time on these, but we've got what we got.
Listen, these university presidents, the university administration at some of these colleges,
oh man,
they are wilding out.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a sight to see. And I'm sure you all have seen it by now. A lot of the colleges and universities around, a lot of the students, and this is one of those things where like the tide is shifting. You're seeing more students having these protests for, people, for our Palestinian brothers and sisters, people who are not on the side of, on Israel's side. And they're having these protests, and they are having cops and SWAT teams and all type of people come and rough these kids up, and you're seeing people getting trampled. I saw a couple of cameramen get thrown around and beat up, and it's like, what in the world is going on? But it's just it's one of those things where certain people can have that free speech, or they can demonstrate XYZ when it comes to having a protest, and that's okay, but some people can't, and it's like, where's the line there,
Yeah. Where is the line? So the protests, I mean, what has fueled the protests, I believe, was, in my opinion, was kind of like, I don't know, It was just like reactionary, like, well, you guys like Israel and we like Palestinians. And so it was just automatic infighting all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. And it's, of course, exploding on campuses, and colleges, especially because, that's kind of what they do. They
protest,
draw a line,
they have sit-ins and have those things.
Protests and sit-ins and things like that. And wow, what a passion. There's a lot of people that have never met anybody from either side. And so how many Jews or how many Palestinians have you hung out with here recently? I don't know.
Wow.
But I will say, I take, the stance of like, wow, these people are crazy, when they do their protesting, and we've seen protests happen all over the place where things get out of hand. Rioting starts happening, things get burned, people die. We don't want that. We don't want that. And so what happens is, the teachers unfortunately get caught in the crossfire. Students get caught in the crossfire as well. And so, a lot of people are left, asking the question, what am I supposed to do when these people get crazy?
And I guess you have to look at it at different sides, and I guess not necessarily you have to take a stance of like, this is where I am or this is where I am, but if there's a group of individuals who are, on the court, they're here in this area and they're protesting, and if they are in this, I guess this squared radius of space that they are occupying, not necessarily causing harm, hurt, or danger to anyone, not, doing anything. It's not sight. I'm sure the university doesn't like the sight of seeing that on their campus, but if they are there, if you've allowed that to happen with other organizations or with other groups, but this group is doing something that's a bit different, and now you have force being put upon them to move, as you'll see officers with batons, and they're pushing up against them and they're pushing them back. It's not that they're fighting to go forward, they're just pushing them back. How does that work when it's, hey, they're just having a protest, they've had protests, they were not removed, but these people are being removed? That's one of those things where I always have a problem just seeing that.
I don't think there's that's one thing I do have a bone to pick about, is that they're not the same. They're not the same at all.
Yeah.
The people that are behind, from what I've seen, and I could be wrong, this is just my perspective, my opinion, but man, it looks like, there's a lot of people blocking traffic. There's people, blocking the way to get to school. People are paying tuition to go to these classes. There's people
that's a problem.
Just doing things that are causing other people harm, or not physical harm, but like money to be lost,
you're making you're inconveniencing people's lives.
Inconveniencing,
yes, that's a problem for sure.
Some things more than others, but if you're standing in the middle of a road, that's a problem. That's a problem, right? Big problem.
100%.
And I do believe that, when you're doing something like that, not letting people freely travel their campus, or like freely travel the roads, or things like that, you're probably going to get in trouble with some law enforcement. I don't know I honestly didn't know what the deal was. I totally get when people get the opportunity to protest, and it's pretty encouraged really on campuses nowadays to go, okay, let's go. We're going to go protest on Thursday. Cool. Get your signs, and you're standing up for something. And a lot of professors believe in that, but when it turns into like a huge crowd of people, and things start getting torn up, and
that's not a protest anymore.
I
articulate that as that's not a protest anymore.
Right,
that's different.
Right.
So then that's when we started looking into rioting, looting, and those things. That's not a protest. A protest should be, hey, we're standing here, this is the way that we feel, we're going to articulate that in a manner to where what we feel. But once we start to, like I say, inconvenience people, have people losing money, and just causing distress for people, then that's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem for sure. So at the end of the day, it's crazy because it's the end of the school year. So a lot of this stuff is about to go away, and we'll see if these people really, stand and back up what it is that they're doing and what they say coming into the summer. But I mean, I think the tides are just kind of changing with how the students and how administration, and even like we say, governments are seeing this war play out between Israel and Palestine, and it's just going to be I feel like it's going to be like this just for a while, because there's just no no set resolution I think that we can see going forward.
I
right
wonder
now.
how this is going to be written down in history books.
Oh man, how much history have we lived through?
A lot, dude.
In our
Things
life,
change
just
so
thinking
fast.
Yeah, so I'm just think from 2000, like when that whole deal, all the way to now, all the history that we've lived through and gone through, and changes that have happened. My goodness.
I mean,
Man.
Bill Clinton was president while I was alive.
Love old saxophone playing Bill. Let me tell you. Bill.
Yeah, I did not have.
Not have relations with that woman. Speaking of Bill and George W. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know, some things.
They're
in
on the same
Tennessee,
team now.
Some things that in Tennessee. You know, I'm sure it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Fooled me once. Shame on.
Shame on. You're not going to fool me again.
All right. So Tennessee, they've recently passed a bill to where teachers are going to be able to conceal carry, have guns at schools. And when I heard this, I saw a lot of people were like in uproar just all across the country. A lot of people were upset and voicing their opinion. And I had to sit back and think, and I was like, surely Tennessee isn't the first state. I know I've heard this, so I'm doing research, and it's almost like the 30th state to start allowing this for teachers to do these things and have guns, or administration to have guns in the school. And here in Texas, we've been about that action for a while now, right? With everything that has happened here.
I didn't realize how extensive it was.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's statewide. The legislation was statewide. It wasn't just like, a district having an idea of like, oh, we should probably arm people here just in case this happens.
Yeah.
No, it was like statewide. And I do remember people talking about that before it became statewide legislation, and I was totally behind that for sure, personally.
Oh, you're saying for Texas having? Oh yeah. Yeah. Because as a parent, I'm like I've used this phrase, that parental paranoia.
Yeah.
Man, I need people that can figure out where the problem is, take out the problem before my child gets hurt, before any child gets hurt, 100%. Before any child is hurt or has some harm caused to them. Yes, I would want the people that are there on that campus to be able to take that threat out. Big time.
Where this is, where this is, I guess, valid is as we, on campuses, we have protests, we have people that, could potentially, harm people. We're people are confused by, oh, well, why would somebody need a gun to get some? Isn't that counterproductive to not having any more guns? But my understanding of this is that a good guy with a bad guy with a gun against a good guy without a gun is a bad situation. But a bad guy with a gun and a good guy with a gun evens the battlefield. And you could potentially wind up with a much better outcome than when everybody is unarmed except for the bad guy. Because the bad guy is going to get a gun regardless. It doesn't matter what you make illegal. It doesn't matter what process you put in place. Somebody's going to have a bad agenda. Some might say evil agenda, and they're gonna make it happen. They're gonna plan it out. They're gonna go do it, and it's gonna be a massacre. And if you don't have somebody on your side that's defending you, defending your interests, defending your kids, able to, do that type of a job. I don't know that we have much of a chance. So I think I see that as a positive thing.
It should be. And like I said, and just the people in Tennessee, they just were in an uproar, and I'm all for, like I say, we wish everyone well, safe, security, peace of mind. We want that. But at the end of the day, the world is going to be the world. And there's evil in this world. I don't care how you try to bleach it out or change whatever textbooks or change whatever law you think that you can control. It doesn't matter. Okay. Evil is just going to be evil. People are just evil.
I was going to have a long conversation with one of my Facebook friends about this, but I'm glad I didn't make it into a long one. But they were talking about how this is a totally different topic, but it just goes to show how we live in an imperfect world. The topic was about gendered bathrooms, and they said something about how porta potties have always been no gender, always. And I was like, there's a lot of reasons why we have separated bathrooms, but one of the reasons is because there's parents out there and they don't want their kids sharing the same bathrooms with somebody that's not the same age or not the same, whatever you want to call it, gender, sex, whatever. And it's not because everybody that's different is bad. It's because the world isn't perfect, and time has shown over and over again that, bad things happen with the right combination of things, right. It's not saying that everybody's bad. It's just like, the same reason why you have, any kind of organization to a process of things in your life.
All it takes is one time.
Yeah.
like honestly, like those, unfortunate situations, as I'll piggyback off of what you're saying with things that happen in a restroom to a young boy or girl that's heartbreaking. That family didn't wake up that morning and think that was going to change the trajectory of their child's life and cause all that to them. They did not think that. And yes, maybe that only happened one time in that whole, neighborhood, county, maybe that the state, hadn't seen anything like that. But it only took one time to change so many different lives. So even with the things that happen at schools, you don't want to wake up and think that, hey, some kid who doesn't feel right internally and their solution is to go to the school and harm others and maybe harm themselves, and your child is one of those ones that they end up harming. It only takes one time. But if that, that officer or that guard was there and they were armed and they were able to see this person starting the rampage that they were starting, and they were able to stop that in its tracks before anyone was able to be hurt, I'm sure you would be very grateful and very thankful for that officer being there so that you can hug your baby at the end of the day.
Yes, 100%.
And I think that's where a lot of people lose sight of. We just want everybody to be able to hug the kids at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Like that's safety is what it should be. Not, hey, if kids start fighting and then if one kid tackles the teacher and takes the teacher's gun and then goes, like, that's why, Texas, we have, the policies and procedures. You have to get approved and take courses. Like there's things that have to be done, before, people can just carry guns like at our, in our state,
So teachers, in order for teachers to be able to carry in the schools, they have to go through a certain, certain amount of safety courses and be approved by the district to carry and all this stuff.
I think they even have to get a psych eval. I think they have to get
psych
a psychological eval,
which is so smart. So smart. Did you have a
genius,
little off
man.
teacher?
What?
One or two of those.
Did I? Man,
I feel like I had a few of those.
Oh, y'all know them. Y'all know who they are.
One of them was an art teacher that acted like a student.
It's always them art teachers, man. Those elective teachers,
I had an art teacher that would storm out of the classroom. Now, granted, she was up against, one of the best. What do you call it? Acting out kids, like just really troubled children or whatever. Troubled youth. Troubled youth.
Oh boy.
But she would storm out of that classroom. I'm gonna go, and it was like, oh my gosh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, we for sure did not want her to have any artillery, and
No
I'm
way.
sure she probably would not pass that exam. So
Yeah.
more power to her. Thoughts and prayers, and we hope that she's
Right.
doing okay. But you got to sit this one out, ma'am. But
Yeah.
so like I say, at the end of the day, I know everybody is up in arms about guns, and that's always a hot button topic for people. But you just have to realize that it doesn't matter what type of a fight that you're going to fight. You're just not gonna get rid of evil. And I would rather you be prepared and on an evil playing field against evil, so that you can have a better outcome. That's
100%.
at the end of the day.
I like
That's what
that.
it's supposed to be about. Paul, I got an email, and in the email, it's talking about the 30th anniversary of the apartheid that happened in South Africa.
Oh yeah.
And so, I breezed through it real quick, and I think I don't know if we really speak about really what was going on over there as we should, because I was today years old when I really got an understanding of all the things that happened over there. And man,
So
them South Africans were some wild boys. Wild.
So what's your new understanding of it?
It sucks that, I think we all can understand what slavery was. We all understand what racism is. We understand that there are people who are in place who want certain things to go their way, and they may not see everyone as equal based on the color of their skin
Right.
or where they're from. I did not know that there were so many just widespread systems that they put in place in South Africa to where it was like, hey, you dark folk, nah, it ain't popping. I mean, to where they were pulling people out of their homes,
Yeah.
removing people from their homes, displacing them. And I mean, they were doing this,
They drew a line.
for years. Yes, for years. I mean, up until the 90s. And it was like, this is sad. And like I said, I'm not an expert at it, but it was just, 30 years, just ago that they were really deep into that. And I know things aren't great here. We have our problems here for sure, but man, that was just eye opening just to see just how they treated just other Africans there, and just how deep they went with changing laws and, like you said, drawing lines and putting people where they did not want them to go. It was something else, man. I just had no idea.
I wonder. So we always talk about racism like we're done with it, or like it's still here, or like, it lives in the shadows, like the boogeyman or something like that. I wonder if racism is more of like waves, because there had to be a time where, obviously, like back in the 70s, where, there was like, I forget what years Jim Crow laws were, but whenever that ended, and there was no separation, there was no separate drinking fountains or bathrooms or weird stuff like that.
Segregation was done.
Segregation was done. And then, white people didn't like that. Some white people didn't like that. And then, but that was way after slavery was done.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I mean, like that's as I said, we had so many things here, and I'll share with you about, redlining and things of that nature, where certain people were not able to get housing in certain areas, and
right.
I mean, I even told you about how some of my uncles
equal housing opportunity lender.
Yeah.
That's what they have to say now.
Right, have to say it now because of those things. Exactly. So, yeah, we had our systematic things here for sure, and they had all of the same things there plus more, and it was just like I said, I just had no idea all that was happening. And I'd look forward to, just reading up on all that history. I know we get a lot of Nelson Mandela, and we
Sure.
see his movies and we praise him. But I really want to get a little deeper and just see just how they were able to do all the things that they did.
What's interesting what I found interesting about history is that things happened for a reason. It wasn't because these guys were stupid. It was because they didn't know something that we knew back then. And maybe it might seem ignorant to us now, especially slavery and, all of that stuff, especially. But like just further on than that, we had segregation, and in Africa they had apartheid. Apartheid was kind of like segregation for them, only, like you said, more extreme, where, whites live over here, blacks live over here. We had the same kind of thing here, really, but it wasn't quite like that. But that was basically what segregation was. Like, we were integrated, but we used separate bathrooms, and it was like black people had cooties or something. Right. That doesn't make any sense at all.
It's all crazy. But and that's just one of those things to where, they always say what history repeats itself, and that's why you need to know your history and know just history in general, because if you can see these things and you can combat the things that you that are wrong because you know the history of it, and you can make things a bit better. But at the end of the day, if we really look at it, slavery and racism and all those things, if you get down to it, money is usually the motive for a lot of the things that happen. Unfortunately, it's the money and the power that you get with the money, and that's a whole nother topic that is just so nasty. There. It's so nasty, but it really is just the money, because as we say with medicine, why find the cure when the medication is gonna give you more money? So why do I need to find the cure? I want to just give you the medicine.
We better quit with all that. We're going to get disappeared.
I'm going to get assassinated. I'm not famous enough to get assassinated. They just going to shoot me. But
drone strike.
So with money, and with money, the only way you get money is you got to work, right? So going to work, and I feel that, especially here in Texas, we've worked with quite a collective group of individuals.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Because it's Texas, somewhat of a melting pot. And
it really is.
You can be friends with a 78-year-old El Salvadoran man who barely speaks English, and that's your best homeboy at work, or you can have a 43-year-old, Asian lady, and she's listening to music with you, and just all over the place.
Let's go to Plano.
You just go and just have so much. But, with that, as I said, with money becomes power. You get the power, and you can see the change in some people when they start to reach certain levels. And, nowadays we're looking at, gender, having equity and inclusion, and, promoting all to be in your workspace and, be comfortable and be themselves. But, at sometimes it's like, how far do we have to have comfort for everyone when it's bringing discomfort to some,
And that's a good question for next episode.
And we are going to go deep
into
that. So how comfortable do you have to make it for everyone when some are starting to get uncomfortable?
Yeah, do you go off of statistics? Like, what percentage does your population represent in the whole, or are you the loudest individual making noise, or
are you the loudest? Yeah. Are you the highest earner?
yeah?
What does that look like?
Do you have the most power in our country?
Man, yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So we look forward to diving deep into that topic here on next episode on the No Color Thick Skin podcast. As always, we appreciate you guys for going on this ride with us. If you like our content, please give us a subscribe here on YouTube if you are watching us, or if you're listening to us on any of the other social media platforms. Send us an email or comment on anything that we've shared with you guys today. But thanks as always. My name is Ray. This is my buddy Paul. We are the No Color Thick Skin podcast. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.